Can you believe what you're hearing? A top White House official is claiming the Trump administration's approach to Iran was too successful, and that's why a predicted 4 to 5 week timeline for resolving the conflict has been blown out of the water. Is this a masterstroke of strategic brilliance, or a convenient excuse for a timeline that didn't pan out? Before we dive deeper into this mind-bending claim, if you want to stay on top of everything happening in US politics, hit that subscribe button right now and leave a like. It really helps this channel grow and allows us to bring you these critical updates. Now, let's break down what Sebastian Gorka, a senior counterterrorism director at the National Security Council, actually said. He was asked how the American public should reconcile President Trump's initial prediction of a swift resolution with the current reality of a protracted situation. His answer? That the US has been too effective. This is a truly remarkable statement. Imagine, in any other context, suggesting that being too good at something is the reason it's taking longer than expected. It's like saying a race car driver finished second because they were too fast off the line, leaving the competition too far behind to catch up. The context here is crucial. President Trump had, on multiple occasions, suggested that any conflict with Iran would be short-lived and decisive. He often projected a confident, almost dismissive, tone about Iran's capabilities, implying a quick, overwhelming US victory. This narrative was part of his broader America First foreign policy, emphasizing strength and decisive action. When that timeline appeared to be slipping, the administration needed an explanation. And Gorka's offering is certainly unique. He seems to be arguing, in essence, that the US military's overwhelming power and effectiveness actually created a situation where Iran was so thoroughly suppressed or deterred that the predicted decisive engagement simply didn't materialize in the way one might expect. It's a convoluted logic that suggests the very efficiency of American power paradoxically extended the perceived timeline of resolution. The idea is that the US was so good at neutralizing potential threats or projecting dominance that the conflict, in a sense, became less about a dramatic confrontation and more about a prolonged period of strategic containment or low-level pressure. But what does this actually mean? For starters, it implies a significant disconnect between the public narrative and the actual, on-the-ground realities. If the goal was a swift resolution, and the reality is a longer engagement, then the explanation offered by Gorka needs to be scrutinized heavily. Is he trying to spin a narrative to save face, or is there a genuine strategic nuance he's attempting to convey? The implications are vast. It affects how we understand the effectiveness of US foreign policy, the reliability of presidential pronouncements, and the very nature of international conflict in the modern era. Who is affected by this? Of course, the American public is directly affected. We are the ones who are expected to trust the pronouncements of our leaders and understand the rationale behind complex geopolitical decisions. Our taxpayers fund these operations, and our national security is at stake. Furthermore, the international community, particularly allies and adversaries, are watching closely. How the US frames its successes and failures, especially in volatile regions like the Middle East, has significant ripple effects. The possible outcomes of this kind of explanation are varied. On one hand, if Gorka's explanation holds water, it could suggest a highly sophisticated, albeit unconventional, strategy of deterrence and control. It might mean that the US is successfully managing a volatile situation without resorting to the large-scale conventional warfare that might have been initially anticipated. On the other hand, it could be seen as a way to mask overestimation, poor intelligence, or an inability to achieve the decisive outcomes that were so confidently predicted. This could erode trust in the administration's foreign policy judgment and potentially embolden adversaries who see a lack of clear, measurable success. It also raises questions about transparency and honesty in government communication. Are we being told the full story, or a carefully curated version designed to present a rosier picture? The very idea of being too effective is so counterintuitive that it demands rigorous examination. It challenges our fundamental understanding of how conflict resolution is supposed to work and how success is measured. So what do you think about this? Is Sebastian Gorka's explanation of the US being too effective in Iran a sign of strategic genius, or a clever deflection? Drop your opinion in the comments below. I read every single one. This is a story that demands our attention, and your insights are a vital part of understanding the complex landscape of American politics. We'll continue to follow this closely.